it's just like just the fact that there are a group of people that were affected and still are affected by
Mhm.
something that you did is like totally art. And that was our old, the reason the band was called Dryve, it was I think it was Corey's idea. It's probably both their idea. Is their thing was they wanted to make driving music. They wanted to
Hmm.
make music that
Oh.
you could listen to when on a
Mhm.
long drive. And but the name Drive with Drive,
Mhm.
there was a metal band in the 80s that put out a couple records and it was
Hmm.
still available, so we couldn't use that. So I remember we had the discussion of we did one show as Drive as a band. I think Paul and Corey they did a few coffee house things, but we played one like performance and it was opening for the Prayer Chain. Back to the multi-instrumental thing, like we had a guy on stand-up bass. It wasn't Mike Pratchner, it was somebody else. And I think David came out and he played some horns on that, and people were just totally into it. And it was just so cool. That was what was so cool about the music at that time was you could have I mean, even in the Christian scene, you had something totally wild like Javelina Rail Company or something,
Yeah.
or Daniel's Son,
Right.
really getting out there.
Mhm.
Right.
Yeah.
Or and then you had Prayer Chain, and then you had, I don't know, Jars of Clay a little bit later. But it was just like people were into all of it,
Yeah.
Yeah.
which was totally awesome. So Paul and Corey, they were like, we want to call the band Drive. And so anyway, I remember having the discussion with them, and they're like, and I think I was the one who found like, guys, the name's taken. And I said, how about a Drive with a Y? And they're like, that's a pretty idea. Okay, why don't we do that? And then Corey's like, what about Southern Drive? I'm like, nah, it makes it sound like it's gonna be like Southern rock. And
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
and I think Paul is like, no, let's do Drive with a Y. That's cool. That's right in the Led Zeppelin, Def Leppard,
Yeah.
alternate,
Yeah.
Mhm.
Motley
Yeah.
Crue spelling,
Right.
you know.
Right.
Right.
And it was like, all right, yeah, that's cool. So then, and then my thing was, when we started getting more into recording that record is like I wanted to make sure that everything, the tones, the snare drum, the vibe would be as timeless as we could make it to where you wouldn't put it on and you go, whoa, dude, that's so 1982, or that's so, obviously the music from the 80s is like, even my kids now are like, whoa, listen to that gated snare. Holy,
I'm gonna say you're not
it's
going for the
80s,
Phil
80s
Collins
music.
sound.
No, the reverse
Yeah.
kit, exactly. So we wanted it to be just to be raw and 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 stand the test of time. And so that's another thing that's just like super cool, to be talking about this stuff, even though, we didn't sell millions of records, we did make some music that did hopefully stand the test of time a little bit.